Are older JRPGs better than what we get today? I mean, that's a valid question that a lot of us might think about. Because if you grew up playing games like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VII or even Suikoden 2, you probably wondered why some new JRPGs don't always hit the same emotional highs. I mean, what's the difference? Is it the pixel art, the music, the combat, or really are we just chasing a feeling from a different time in our lives?
So yes, today we're talking about this age-old discussion. Are older JRPGs better than new ones? Are newer JRPGs better than the old ones? I would love to know your thoughts, so let me know down below in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe as always. Let's get to the video. I think this is one of the more thought-provoking videos I've made in a while, so I'm looking forward to this one.
Older JRPGs had this undeniable charm that was born out of limitation. Developers were working with hardware that couldn't support complex visuals or voice acting, so they leaned more heavily on stuff like strong storytelling, unforgettable soundtracks, and creative design choices. Combat was turn-based usually, and while the mechanics were often simple, they were also really clean, fast, and strategic. You had to think carefully about your party setup, your spells, and how to prepare for bosses. I mean, depending on what game you're playing, there was real satisfaction in figuring out the right approach. The stories were concise but powerful, without flashy cutscenes and over-the-top stuff that we often have now. The writing really had to carry the emotional weight. Dialogue boxes delivered moments of heartbreak and triumph and introspection that hit harder than honestly they really had any right to. And the music, sometimes composed by legends like Nobuo Uematsu or Yasunori Mitsuda, really cemented these games into our memories. Exploration was a huge part of the appeal as well. World maps invited you to get lost, talk to random NPCs, find secrets, go off the beaten path. And because a lot of these games didn't hold your hand, victories felt earned. The lack of guidance meant that you had to engage more deeply with the world and its systems. Think about playing those older NES JRPGs back when they first came out. The idea of being dropped into a world and being told nothing, like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, for example, and just, going off on adventures. There's a real charm to that I think sometimes is missing now. Now, modern JRPGs do things that were simply impossible in the past. Today's games benefit from decades of evolution, not just in technology, I guess, but also design philosophy. Visually, modern JRPGs can be stunning. Detailed environments, expressive characters, and these huge, awesome cinematic cutscenes bring worlds to life in ways that we could never have thought on the Super Nintendo. With full voice acting, facial animation, or even motion capture, characters feel more human, and stories can be told with subtlety and emotional nuance. Combat systems have also become more diverse. Some games keep it turn-based, but also add layers of strategy and customization. Others go real-time or use hybrid systems, allowing for faster pacing and more dynamic action. The experimentation here has led to more innovative gameplay that's going to appeal to a lot of different players. There's also quality of life improvements that are another major strength in comparison to older games. Features like autosave, fast travel, quest logs, story recaps, and other accessibility options make modern JRPGs easier to enjoy without compromising their depth. I will say that they do respect your time in ways that older games didn't always manage to. And let's not forget the scope. Games today can tell larger, more complex stories, often with branching narratives, character arcs that evolve over dozens of hours, and moral choices that shape the outcome. Honestly, there's a lot more flexibility, a lot more depth, and more ways to engage with modern JRPGs. Now, neither old nor new JRPGs are perfect. Each era comes with its own unique set of challenges. Older games, yes, while charming, could often sometimes be really grindy. Random encounters happened every few steps, and without some clear objectives, you'd feel like you're getting lost with no idea of where to go next. Difficulty spikes and save point scarcity could make progress frustrating instead of fun. And let's be honest, some of those classic mechanics haven't aged that well. Yes, I'm looking at you, Final Dungeon, in Final Fantasy III. If you know, you know. On the other hand, modern JRPGs often suffer from bloat. Side quests can feel like chores, menus can be overwhelming, and some systems can be so complex that you spend more time reading tutorials than playing. And sometimes the sheer length of these games works against them, with pacing that drags or stories that take too long to get going. And on the technical side, sometimes games are shipped incomplete and require hefty day one patches to problem solve. And sometimes games don't perform as well as they should. Caring more about frame rate is a real thing, and often the difference on whether or not I play a game on, the Steam Deck or the PlayStation 5. So while older games risked being too simple or maybe even too punishing, modern games can feel over-designed, exhausting, and sometimes they just underperform. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's free, it supports the channel, and it does actually help quite a lot. Now, despite these changes, the heart of the JRPG hasn't gone anywhere. At their core, these games are still, more often than not, about a group of unlikely heroes coming together to face something greater than themselves. They're about friendship, growth, and the journey of everything. And sometimes killing God. I mean, it's a thing. It's a stereotype for a reason. So whether you're playing a game from the Super Nintendo era or one that's just recently released on the PlayStation 5 this year, that core experience is still there. That feeling of stepping into a new world, building your party, and watching characters grow emotionally and mechanically, that hasn't gone away at all. The genre has evolved, but the soul of it all still remains the same. But there's one factor that often skews how we judge new JRPGs when compared to the classics, and that's recency bias. When a new game drops, whether it's Metaphor ReFantazio or Expedition 33 or Sea of Stars, I mean, we're looking at these games with fresh eyes, but also under a serious microscope. Expectations are sky high, and the comparisons from these new games to how they stack up against older, legendary, legacy titles, sometimes it might be a bit harsh. But the thing is that older JRPGs have had decades to settle into our memories. We've had time to sit with them, revisit them, and let the nostalgia soften their rough edges. Sometimes it's not always a fair fight. Sure, it is easy to say they don't make them like they used to, but sometimes we're remembering how those games made us feel, not necessarily how they played. Meanwhile, new titles have to fight for our time, battle our adult responsibilities, and somehow recreate those magical moments from our childhoods. It's honestly a tall order. Even in my comment section recently on my perfect JRPG video, why didn't you include Expedition 33? Or I love Expedition 33, it's the best game of all time. I mean, is it really? Or are you just riding that new game high? Personally, I mean, I will probably put this in another video. The combat was cool, but the story didn't land with me at all beyond Act 1. But yeah, another video for another time. Same thing for Sea of Stars. I personally didn't love that game, and I didn't have a ton of hype for it. That game did not hit for me like it seemed to hit for a lot of other people. But in saying that, that doesn't mean that modern JRPGs are worse. It just means that our frame of reference has changed, and we should be aware of that when we judge today's games, because some of them might very well become new classics. We just really haven't had the time to properly see this yet. And this leads to a more personal question. I mean, what do you want out of a JRPG? If you prefer tight pacing, pixel art, turn-based simplicity, and nostalgic tone, of course the older JRPGs are probably going to speak more to you. But if you love more immersive storytelling, deep mechanics, and cutting-edge presentation, modern games might offer more of what you're looking for. I mean, the debate over what era is better might not have a definitive answer, because it really depends on your priorities as a player. Nostalgia is powerful, but also so is innovation. Neither are inherently better than the other. They just offer different flavors of the same experience. And honestly, there's no reason to choose one over the other when both styles are still alive and well, though some options are more affordable than others. I mean, I'm looking at you, Complete Unbox Earthbound. Some of the most beloved JRPGs in recent years blend the strengths of both eras. I mean, look at something like Bravely Default 2, bringing back that classic job system, and turn-based combat with beautiful modern visuals. Or one of the new Persona games like Persona 3 Reload or Persona 5 Royal, mixing traditional mechanics with this unique style and, quality of life stuff. Or we can even look at some HD 2D games like Octopath Traveler 1 and 2 or Triangle Strategy, for example, that use retro-inspired visuals but offering some really unique deep combat, layered storytelling, and modern polish with that as well. So even games like Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, and Sea of Stars, like I mentioned before, feel like spiritual successors to old school JRPGs, but with the benefit of modern stuff. Obviously, one example is a proper full 3D game and the other one is pixel art, but it just goes to show the breadth of what we can experience now. These titles prove that developers don't have to pick a side or even be limited by technology to a point. They can learn from the past while embracing the future, continuing to innovate, and players benefit the most when they do this. So are older JRPGs better than new ones? Again, the answer depends on what you value more, the simplicity and the heart of the classics, or the ambition and polish of today's titles. Both eras have their gems and their flaws. Personally, when I'm looking at an older JRPG I experienced as a kid, I'm more often than not chasing a feeling. You know how it is these days. Life sucks sometimes. Sometimes we need that comfort of something from a happier time. Sometimes it is Final Fantasy VII on a CRT and a PlayStation 1. And even if it's an older JRPG that I'm experiencing for the first time, Grandia, which I've spoken about quite frequently, or Suikoden 1 and 2, these games still feel weirdly familiar. I know it's from that special time in my childhood, so I feel like I can easily grasp onto those games. Whereas new games, for example, Expedition 33, I sometimes struggle to get into because of the life commitments that I have and broken up play times. It really is all about finding that right balance between work and play. But what is exciting is that JRPGs as a genre feel more alive than ever. Whether you're looking for a nostalgic throwback or a modern epic, or even an indie gem that does both, there's a JRPG out there for you. So thanks so much for watching this one today. As you can tell, like, I'm on the fence a little bit what I prefer, old versus new. I still think I prefer, the nostalgia and the coziness of stuff that I know, especially from, some more memorable time periods in my life. But I still do like some of these new experiences as well. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you again on another video next week. Bye-bye.